This seems like a serious essay right here. What the heck? The truth of a gacha game, or about gacha games, from a games industry vet. Okay, this guy is the expert, alright, we gotta listen to him. He write an essay, so that means it's real. So let's see, what is he gonna talk about? Greetings! I've been part of the gaming industry for a decade. 12 years experience. Okay, and I've noticed a widespread misunderstanding within the community regarding the dynamics between publishers and developers. Okay, so very interesting. Okay, very interesting. To maintain my privacy, I will not disclose my name, but I believe it's essential for the community to be informed. Okay. One common misconception is that global game publishers have control over the licenses they acquire. Wait, what? A common misconception is that global game publishers, they have the control over the licenses they acquire. Like for example, Crunchyroll obtained Princess Connect. So he's trying to say Crunchyroll don't really have control over Princess Connect, is it? In reality, publishers obtain licenses from Eastern developers who often own the game and its intellectual property. These developers make crucial decisions about global versions, including the pricing and Eastern strategies implemented in global versions. So many criticize global publishers for high prices in gacha games. However, these prices are set to cover the license costs and generate profits for the publishers, developers, and IP owners. And since many companies are involved in the process, so does the cost, which relies heavily on the consumer due to strict IP guidelines. Okay? This is not explaining much outside of I shouldn't blame Crunchyroll for Princess Connect shutting down, which is the first thing that comes to my mind. It's important to note that multiple companies are involved in this decision process, with Eastern developers holding significant decision-making power. So in Crunchyroll's case, Princess Connect's case is Psy Games. That's the Eastern developer he's talking about. So I'm just putting that in perspective. So Psy Games had the power or had more control over Princess Connect shutting down than Crunchyroll, is what he's trying to say. Not sure if I'm buying that. Okay, some unpopular publishers in the community are often misattributed as the main problem. Okay? In truth, these publishers merely license titles and games, lacking influence over the creative and development aspects. For instance, an anime service company, he's talking about Crunchyroll. Come on, he gotta be talking about Crunchyroll, right? So he's saying Crunchyroll is the good guy. Anime service company, often criticized in this subreddit, only licenses rights and has no decision-making power for the games nor anime they license. So we should stop blaming Crunchyroll, is it? We should stop saying Crunchyroll bad. So Crunchyroll was the good guys all along. Oh my god. I knew it. Alright, Crunchyroll was the good guys all along. The evil one is Psy Games. The evil entity. Still blame Crunchyroll? No, according to him, this anime service company they don't have the decision to shut down to EOS. I understand there may be questions or comments, and I'm willing to address them individually. However, given the limitations of a Reddit post, I may not be able to cover everything in depth. I encourage everyone to recognize that Eastern developers play a crucial role in controlling how games function, including decision making and pricing. The complexity of these dynamics is often overlooked, but understanding them is vital for the gaming community. Feel free to ask any questions and I'll do my best to provide answers. First of all, I'm not trusting anything he say because anyone can just type this essay. Like he's claiming that he has worked in the gaming industry for a decade, and he's an expert on the topic. He's the expert on the subject, and he knows publishers and developers, which is fine. But anyone can say that. Anyone can go to Reddit right now and say, "Yo, I'm a doctor in gaming. I have studied PhD 10 years in gacha gaming." Like, I'm not gonna believe anyone just by them saying something, right? So of course, although 99% of the time people do not lie on the internet, alright, 99% of the time people will be telling the truth. But I still have my doubt for this 1%, you know? This 1%. Mod already verified though. But how does the mod know? Think about it. How does the mod know? How does the mod know? We have independently verified that is who they say they are and has worked extensively within the gaming industry. Can mod be bribed? $5. Just saying, you know, just saying. How accurate is Sensor Tower estimating gacha revenue? I'm not saying I don't trust him completely, I'm just saying that I have my doubts, you know? Like, I'm like 50-50. Is all I'm saying. I'm not saying that this guy is a liar, panties on fire. I'm just saying like I have a little bit of doubts because it would be nice if he can provide some sort of credibility, screenshots, some sort of things, right? Sensor Tower always under reports for all the gacha games listed. All of them are making more than what is listed. Okay, I do feel that way as well. That confirms my suspicions. Those numbers have always looked a bit lowball, especially on the mid or lower end. There is no accurate reporting on any of this unless the publishers and developers decide to disclose the information themselves, but all of them under report. I'm going to take a wild guess why they under report. Publicly stating your actual profit margins is generally unwise, as it may lead to less confidence in your company, plus product, or the games being made. Then shouldn't they over-report then? For players that see these lower numbers, they might be an incentive to drop cash to show support for the product they enjoy playing. To avoid tax probably. Interesting question, I always wondered that myself. I honestly do not know the thinking process behind this, but since most of the gacha games we all know of do not do it, the others seem to follow the same protocol. The data on Sensor Tower does not factor revenue from PC, alright? It doesn't put into consideration on the standards of the developer or publisher. For example, larger developers or publishers, like Cygames, will have much higher standard for monthly revenue than a smaller developer like Studio B-Side Counterside, because Cygames is partnering with Crunchyroll. Okay, let's see. Sensor Tower get called out. So Higan basically actually makes 1 million. Damn, we were wrong all the time. Higan is not earning 10k, he's earning 1 million. Underreported. I have a question. What are the reasons why gacha games still rely on a model of local companies licensing the rights for regional servers? I'm curious because this is the model that anime and manga have moved away. Japanese publishers seem to want to cut out the middleman, so to speak. Instead of licensing anime and manga to regional publishers, they just do their own translations. I'm wondering why we aren't seeing a similar trend in the gacha space. Does it have something to do with the unique needs of live service game? Is it because payment methods are region locked? A lot of the IP owners, even if they are starting to slowly venture off to their own processes, still do rely on global publishers to license off. I would say the shift for the anime manga industry was understood because the industry and those leaders leading the sectors understand the value of the global audiences, while in games it's about half and half. I feel like many Western publishers adjust things more than really needed, and or make cash grab moves that damage people's faith in them. This has a way of making self-fulfilling prophecies about an IP doing badly. But the Western publishers don't usually do this thing. It's the Eastern publishers that do it. The Eastern developers. Because a lot of the Western publishers who license off the developers are mainly doing it to provide legality for others to play the game legally. But to also make something off of it, of course. Making money versus having say is two completely different things, so just wanting to let the community aware that the Eastern developers 100% are the ones that have any ultimate say on how games are structured. Let's see. No one is forcing global publishers into deals where they accept being dictated how they are to manage the games they license. They are the face global consumers deal with, so they rightfully need to take the heat of decisions they make with eyes wide open, aka Crunchyroll. Crunchyroll is for money. Hey Naomi's Corner, what's up? The issue at hand is the teams advocating on behalf of the community are often wrongly targeted despite lacking actual decision-making authority over the game. This will lead to crucial voices and concerns directed at the appropriate teams go unnoticed. The Eastern devs who hold the key decision-making power don't feel pressure of this because the dialogue in these Reddit threads and communities tend to focus on the wrong teams. Okay. So I think at the end of the day it's mostly about Crunchyroll, am I right? What do you think of the gacha games that continue to live on but having very low revenue? For example, Grimlight, Artery Gear Fusion, Higan, Alchemy Stars. The reason those are still going even with lower revenue compared to other titles is because the titles you mentioned are not licensed. They are original works or IP of the publishers, so the publishers in this case have their own development teams that they hire, and there's less chefs in the kitchen, as one would say. Those lower revenue points is actually pretty good because they have less costs associated compared to a licensed title. In reality, it's probably good for them. Yeah, this makes a lot of sense, right? Because if you don't have like a Dragon Ball IP or some sort of like Black Clover IP that you have to pay licensing fees, that could be like an extra cost for sure. That will answer that Genshin is being greedy. That gives out only 3 pulls? Gen? I will agree with that. Genshin is greedy. Okay? Genshin gamers are cash cows. Wow. Gen? Gen? The problem is most people acknowledge the income but actually have no idea about actual profit. True? That's always true. Holy essay. Okay, he didn't answer that. What's your take on Genshin controversy? Eastern devs worry that if they give too many, it will leave you to not spend more. Yeah, I saw Black Clover. So this guy bring a very complex issue. Black Clover. If the licensing companies lack creating and developmental influence over the games and anime they license, what do you think is the contributing causes to so many of the games licensed by said anime service company EOSing within a year? The games make money over the year they are in service, but I don't think they have a reputation of having games shut down this often, and early would be good for getting whales to be committed to the games. I'm not an expert, but it does not make sense to me that they would be coerced into publishing a gacha game based on an anime IP just because they also have the license to stream the anime. As from what I understand, the actual devs of the underlying game are usually also licensing the right from the rights holder of the IP. For example, if said anime service company is the company I'm thinking of, they have the rights to stream the Black Clover anime, but the global launch of the Black Clover gacha game is published by a different company completely and seems to be extremely successful as well. But many of the other anime IP gacha games licensed by them typically last no longer than 2 years. Alright, interesting question, I guess. So there are a couple of reasons. Cost of license maintenance. Makes sense. Black Clover's unique dynamics. What is this? A typical flow of anime rights involves the IP owner, then the studio securing approval from the IP owner to produce the anime series, and the game devs obtaining license either from the studio or directly from the IP owner. However, all steps necessitate approval, and licensing process involves multiple stakeholders, so many wonders the community has as to why something isn't happening, has so many layers involved and is not centered around one company. Okay. Global publishers encounter more significant challenges due to the multitude of approvals required. Alright. Western IP follows a different trajectory, which might be why the confusion exists in the first place. Eastern IP, the source of much popular content players adore, undergoes a different handling method with a lot of hurdles. Eastern developers maintain tight control over their creations, making decisions independently for all game versions, global and homeland, while also having the IP owners give yes and no's to specific things. So they still maintain the control throughout. I mean, that makes a lot of sense, right? Having your own IP is better in most cases, both for developers and players. If your IP does well, cool. But the truth, you can't deny the fact that if you have an anime IP, the game don't have to be good. People will still play it, right? Like Dragon Ball, Naruto, One Piece, Jujutsu Kaisen, Attack on Titan. Name any famous anime, you have that IP, you make a game out of it. You probably don't even have to promote it much. Just put it on Google Play Store. People are going to find it and be like, wow, I'm going to play this. Cool Attack on Titan anime 2D waifu game. And then download, right? So that's going to be something that's like, it's like a trade-off, right? So you're paying for licensing fee, but at the same time, you don't have to like build a franchise. You don't have to build an IP. It's going to be hard for you to start from a ground up, from scratch. Yeah, it's something to definitely consider though. Well, this is a long essay. I'll link it to you guys if you guys want to read all of this. He did answer a lot of the questions. I'm not sure if I'm going to read the entire thing because it's extremely long.